What's up? What's up? What's up, family? This is Juan J. Johnson coming to you live again. Coming to you live. I'm doing a continuation. I'm going to do a continuation, and I will bring you in if you want to come in and have the conversation with me. I just left my feed from a brother, friend of mine, Pastor Lamar, Overseer Lamar McIntyre from the Courts of Praise Ministries. We just had the discussion about Ahmaud Arbery, the young 25-year-old brother who was killed while jogging. People, and for all my social media family, whether you're Twitter, whether you're Instagram, whether you are YouTube or Facebook, I may be calling out some names because I'm on my live feed from Facebook, so I'm interacting with the community. And again, I will bring you on board if you want to come on board. I don't have to have the conversation to myself. I was trying to watch the other video. From the last feed, Keith, the other video, or there's a newer video right now. See if I can bring you in. Hold on a second. Oh, you guess. So I tried to bring you in, Keith, with you and the pastor. I was trying to watch the other video. Oh, my bad. I think my computer was moving kind of slow. I think there was a delay that's going on. I think it was a delay. I'm trying to bring you in right now, brother. See something? I'm hitting it. And nothing's happening. Allow your viewers request to join you. Keith, if you wanna come live, hit the little icon at the end of the screen. You can come live if you want to. No problem, I'm listening. So, with that said, again, I just did a feed on Zoom dealing with the Arbery death, Ahmaud Arbery's death, the killing of Ahmaud Arbery. And family, I try not to these days. Mac, I'm trying to bring you in, bring Lamar on camera. I can bring you in, brother. I can bring you in. I just hit the thing. Let me try this, Mac. Watch this. See something? Can't bring Lamar on camera. Okay, I try to bring you in. So watch this, family. I just got off the feed with a brother, a good friend of mine. We needed to discuss the whole Ahmaud Arbery's killing that took place. It was like I coined it, or like I've said, it was a high-tech 21st century lynching that took place. It was a 21st century high-tech lynching. I say high-tech because we're now in the technical arena. We're dealing with social media. Everything's about tech right now. And you can get immediate information at the drop of a finger, just at the drop of a dime, just at one click, you're right there. And we have, I guess, a retired police officer in Gregory McMichael and his son, Travis McMichael. I want to say their names. Gregory McMichaels and his son, Travis McMichaels. Killed, murdered in cold blood. I would say a homicide, premeditated in cold blood, an innocent foundational Black American or African American. And that's important, family, because I misquoted something on that last feed I did with Lamar. James Byrd, who was killed, I said maybe 13 years ago on the last feed, James Byrd was killed on June 7th, 22 years ago, in 1993, on the 7th of 1998. So we're approaching the 22nd year of James Byrd, who was attached to a Ford pickup truck, who was drugged into he was dismembered for at least 2 miles. In some 1 year, 22 years to a month of his death, we have now Ahmaud Arbery seen just jogging, family. And I want to be very slow and methodical when I say this. He was just jogging, family. He was just out taking a jog. And 2, I'm going to say 3, because the person recorded never said nothing. Never tried to intercede, never interjected into the conversation. He watched it, he recorded it, and they posted it. Out taking a jog, he was approached by 2 suspected white supremacists. Again, Travis McMichaels, the son, and Gregory McMichaels, who's the father, killed a young black male in cold blood. This was a cold-blooded killing that we captured on video, that you saw. You actually saw a killing take place. A 21st century high-tech lynching. Say this again. And I say high-tech lynching again because back in the days of Jim Crow, where black folks were being killed and lynched, and they would send postcards, and they would have picnics. That's where picnics come from. Pick a nigga. Comes from lynching black people, killing them. And you had crowds, swarms of people coming to view this execution, this murder, this killing. When you fast forward to 2020, which is the 20th century, the 21st century, we have crowds of people watching by way of camera. We even have even more people watching by camera now, by video. They showed no remorse. They attacked an innocent, unarmed man. And I want to try to take the emotion out this whole equation because, again, we're so emotional that we're not logical. And we're so emotional that we don't really consider or understand what we really are fighting. We're not just fighting the system of racism and white supremacy, family. We're fighting people within the system who operate within the system. So there's the system, and you have the people who operate in the system. And I would just say this, full disclosure, I don't believe all white people are bad. So if you don't fit the equation, this is not directed towards you. But I understand this. if you're not bad, my white brothers and sisters and friends and associates, and you sit back on the sideline and you are quiet and you're complacent when you know that this was a homicide, this was a killing that took place, unprovoked, then you are just as guilty as the murderers that took that young man's life. Let me be very clear. Dr. King said, there comes a time when silence is betrayal. See this again. Dr. King, in his immortal words, said, there becomes a time when silence is betrayal. And that cuts both ways, because that statement is a two-edged sword. It cuts if you're the black community who say nothing and do nothing. And it cuts if you're the white community who say nothing and do nothing. This high-tech lynching took place in February. Give my dates right. It took place in February. All right? February. I believe around about the 7th. This is May, family. This is May. February, March, April, May. No arrest. And you have video, no arrest. The DA's office said it's going to request a grand jury. But the grand jury is out because of the COVID virus. You're talking about maybe in June? There is no grand jury right now because of COVID. So these killers, these murderers, are out of jail right now, walking as free men after killing a 25-year-old black male. Let me say something, family. That could have been my son, my daughter. And although it's not my son or my daughter, this brother, his mother, is a part of the black collective. What collective is that? Foundational Black Americans or African Americans. Because we all belong to a collective. Asians have their own collective. The Latinos have their own collective. The Italians have their own collective. Germans have their own collective. Russians have their own collective. So this is a brother from our collective, Foundational Black Americans, who was approached, followed. I heard the dispatchers call about an alleged suspicious person. Actually, it was a female caller who called about a suspicious person that was supposed to be looking inside a vacant house. Okay? A vacant house. And we had these three suspected white supremacists decide to take the law into their hand. The father Gregory McMichaels is a retired police officer. His son was with him, and the cameraman, who I believe was all working together. They followed this young black man, stopped the truck, approached him with guns. If I'm a black man and you got a gun and I'm unarmed, what do you think I'm gonna do? Either I'm gonna run to try to get away, but if you got the jump on me, I'm going to defend myself. Arbery had the right to defend himself, like any one of us who are approached by armed suspected white supremacists. We all have the right to defend ourselves. That brother was within his right to defend himself. And they didn't just shoot him once, nor twice. They shot him 3 times. And you saw his body fall into that street. These were not law enforcement officers. They were not trying to make no citizen's arrest. Again, let me be very clear. I've given law enforcement 20-something years of service. I'm not speaking as no novice to this thing. I'm very clear about suspects, shootings. This right here was a lynching, a 21st century high-tech lynching that we've all seen. It reminds me of the James Byrd lynching that took place back in '98. June 7th, 1998. We're like 1 month to the day that James Byrd was killed, some 22 years ago. So you got to ask the question, why is this happening to us? Why are we allowing suspected white supremacists to just pick us off? Why aren't we taking matters into our own hands? Why are we so surprised about these lynchings? Family, listen to me. If you do not believe, or if you have not figured out that we are at war, you know, when a person declares war on you, they don't have to say it verbally. Their actions can say it. I tried to bring you in. It won't let you in. Let me see something. See what happens. It says I'm adding you, but if it comes on, it comes on. We are in the 21st century. This is the first time this happened. Well, look, I just yellow. Okay. So you guys see, this is the course of creative ministries. We just ended the broadcast about an hour, maybe less. I hear Lynching, and he's rejoining me again because, like I said, this is what I can say on this. Mac, I hear feedback. I think it should be feedback. Can you hear me now? Okay. I want my family. Can you guys hear me? Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. If it's I hear some distortion. Okay.
Might have to cut your phone down a little.
Okay, let me cut it down some. Okay. So with that said, Again, family, we're at war. People don't have to tell you that they're at war with you verbally. Before you look at their actions. Look at their actions. And the sad thing is this, that he done got killed. The suspects are still at large. The suspects are still walking the street. Millions of people have seen these two suspects kill an unarmed, innocent black man. And justice, the system of white supremacy justice, is allowing them to walk the street. This speaks more to us than it does to the system. Because I've said in the last broadcast, there's no way in God's green earth, if something like this happened to my daughters, that I'm going to be, that you won't see no retaliation. Especially when they're undecided about locking them up. They are undecided.
And they took their they took their view. This is the puzzling part to me. They literally took their view and believed them by saying, "Oh, we were protecting ourselves. We were making the citizens arrest." What? And you don't even lock them up. They're still out. They covered it up. You got a black police officer who shot recently in Prince George's County a black man in his cruiser. He is in jail. I've been through it. Falsely accused. Ended up there. White supremacy is in play. Systematic racism is what we are dealing with, as you've already said so eloquently. There is no reason that a grand jury should be called when you have a sitting state's attorney or prosecutor down there, a sitting chief of police or sheriff. They should take out warrants right now and make an arrest. Charge it.
Brother, there is no excuse that these two murderers are walking the street right now. None. Even their chief. Well, hold on. Forget the chief. Because, again, there's no excuse why they got them on camera.
Yeah. Okay. But see, once again,
they've admitted to it.
Look, they lied. They actually originally lied and tried to say that he was attacking them. And we see that the camera itself is disputing that because he's trying to defend himself. He don't know who these people are. He didn't stop them. They stopped him with guns. He could have probably been thinking about Bird. I'm out here on my morning stroll, and y'all gonna sit here and tie me to this truck and lynch me. So I gotta defend myself. And he loses his life. You talked about it. You have the book about the codes down south throughout the United States, up north, mainly down south. And once again in Georgia, you dealing with this, this southern, that's even deeper. The southern systematic supremacy, whereas they just do not believe that black people should succeed or black people have the ability to do what it is they want and choose to do. And I'm telling you, these jokers are getting this mess. They getting this fuel to show racism towards black and brown bodies from Trump, their leader. And what do we do about it?
Before I inject Trump into the equation, because I don't know if they was thinking about Trump, they was thinking about just killing a nigga.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, I consider it could have happened to me. Mm-hmm. If you're black, male or female, on this feed, watching this video, it could have been you. Mm-hmm. We're seeing nationwide unprovoked attacks against black people. Mm. by suspected white supremacists. You hear me? We are seeing unprovoked attacks because I said earlier, we're in a system of global white supremacy.
Mm-hmm.
Not just in this nation, but we're in a system of global white supremacy. You heard that term being thrown out there when Trump got into office. White nationalism, white supremacy. White folks were just, look, in my lifetime, I would never thought I would hear that white folks would interject white supremacy, white nationalism into the equation, and they did. So when you inject it into the dialogue, guess what? I seized it, and I talked about it. But prior to them talking about it, I was already talking about it.
Mm.
To me, I'm not emotional about this because I've already know that the system of white supremacy has declared war on all people of color. Okay? All people of color. And the characters within the system understand the code. If you're white, you're right.
Mm.
If you're white, you're privileged. Even the poorest of the poorest whites still believe that they are better than the richest black person.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
What we saw with this 25-year-old being shot, which is a continuation of brother James Byrd, who was killed not the same way, but he was drugged to death by a pickup truck with white boys just 22 years ago. We're seeing, or what we continue to see, is a reminder to all people in the system of racism, white supremacy, that white is right and whites are privileged. Because again, I say, had that been me and you in a pickup truck and we was stalking a white male,
Oh my
25
God.
years
Oh
old,
God.
and then we decide to take out our guns and kill this white male in the street like a dog, we would be plastered all over the nation. CNN, MSNBC, Fox, all your alphabets. Our houses would be, look here, not just that, our houses would be, they have a
Number one.
warrant. They would have a warrant to check our houses. They would collect all our data, all our computers. They'd be
God,
up in our rooms, the
they
walls. Brother, your
they
life would be upside down.
they would have charged us for simply being outside for during COVID-19.
That would have been
they,
that would have been
they,
an additional charge.
they would have started right there. Look, listen, on top of killing you, that would have been an additional charge. We gonna stack all the charges in because once again, as you said, it unfortunately the black and brown body is not held in the same level of sacredness.
But who's, well, watch this. That's a good point. Whose idea is this that our bodies are not held to the same standard,
Whew,
to the same
listen,
value?
let me now listen. Let me
Who, and what's not just that, who enforces it? Because this is not just them doing something. The system has backed them up because none of them in jail right now.
not one. You
Not
got to
one
get
person's in jail.
Dr. Kelly Brown Douglas. Hold on, give me a second. I'm gonna get this.
Go
You
ahead.
got to get this book by
Raphael
Dr.
Bell said this. He said, could have been one of my 3 black sons. She said, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to jail for mine, however.
There you
Okay?
go.
Okay? Felicia, why is this not on mainstream? I have no idea. You know why? I tell you why. Well, she said, I understand all of the coverage is on COVID, but it is all over social media. Push it to where it needs to be. Again, watch this. I said on the last stream, when you don't control the media, you don't control the narrative.
God.
And foundational black Americans have been so complacent in allowing the white daddy to feed us media, to be the source of information instead of
Mm.
us building our own. We are 13 and 14% of this nation's population, and we should have 13% of the media outlets. Not just
Mm.
Channel 4, Channel 5, Channel 7, Channel 9, not just ABC, NBC, CBS. We should have our own. And because we don't have our own, because we don't control the narrative, because we don't have our own media, this is why you're not seeing this story. If it wasn't for
But
social media, you wouldn't even see this story or hear about the story. It'd be in
yeah.
the archives of another nigga dead, and let's move on.
Hey, look, check this. I encourage you, Stand Your Ground by Kelly Brown Douglas, Dr. Kelly Brown Douglas. Stand
Mhm.
Your Ground. This is a book she wrote, one of the greatest, I'm telling you, African American justice books. It needs to be on your shelf. She wrote in response to Trayvon Martin, but this is what she said. She talks about black and brown bodies. She talks about the history of chattel slavery and what they, called us as chattel. But she says, look, the dangerous black body. She talks about it. She says a free black body is a dangerous body because it presumably threatens the very social order. And see, that's the same. It goes back to slavery because we would uprise. The slaves would uprise to fight back. Now that we are African Americans born here on this soil, they're afraid that the more educated we become, the more knowledgeable we become, that we are going to do just what we're doing, and that is fighting back. They're afraid that just like back in slavery times, slaves outnumbered whites in the South by almost 3 times their numbers. And so therefore those codes that you have in here were set in place to prevent uprisings, like our boy VC, to prevent uprisings such as the one out in Jamaica,
The Haitian
in
Revolution.
the Haitian Revolution, the Haitian movement. That's right. And so once again, a free black body is a dangerous black body, young man. And that's why I said, listen, you got to use your imagination. You got to get into try to figure out the mindset of these sick white boys who did this. Were they angry because he was free and sharp and just exercising when that's not the norm for their mind for a black man to do? They out of shape, look like trash. Maybe this is the next NBA, NFL star. He shouldn't be in this neighborhood. We just had a situation real quick, whereas not long ago, Howard, white people moved in. Howard's been on its property for hundreds of years, and they allowing their dogs to, defecate on the grass and on the property. The students are complaining, saying we aren't even allowed to walk on this grass because the grass is held sacred. You know what a new white man who moved to the neighborhood said? If they don't like it, move out.
Okay, well, again, but it speaks to, again, just look here, I'm not in denial about this. If you follow me for any sensitive time on social media, if you talk to me face to face, you know that I've been I've been knocking on this system of racism, white supremacy. I've even coined a term, white male dominant culture, white male dominant society. Since most people don't want to deal with white supremacy, I'll say we'll call it WMD culture, which is
Mm.
for short is weapons of mass destruction or white male dominant culture. But the essence of it is I'm white and I'm privileged.
Mm.
It's about whiteness and being privileged. It's about I can do whatever I want to do and you can't do nothing because
Nothing.
you can't do nothing. Keith said this. I got a question. Keith said, we have always identified the problems, but never collectively agreed to the solution. Why? We will become an apartheid in the next decade. Whites will never allow us equal justice. To your first question, this is my brother too. To your first question, we always have identified the problem, but never collectively agreed to the solution. But watch this. I think that here it is. What's been what's been what what's understood does not always have to be said. Let me say this again. What's we already know what to do. What's understood don't have to be said. But I'll say it. If somebody messes with, if this happened to my daughters, I'm gonna be you're gonna I will be either in the grave or I'll be on a trial just by 12. Because there's nowhere in the world as a protector, provider, a person who gives instructions, and a man who protects his culture, can I allow for this type of behavior, unprovoked, murderous, psychopathic behavior to take place, and I sit back here and wait for the slow wheels of justice. These folks are, again, this happened in February, family. We are in May, approaching June. We're talking about 5 months, and they're talking about, we're going to call for grand jury. When you got videotape, the devil's
Nah, they need to be arrested right now. You have a sitting prosecutor. You have a sitting sheriff and chief of police. And you said, like you said, you have a tape. They need to be arrested right now. There is no need for a grand jury until after charges have been filed. And it is a disgrace. We've already underlined the issues with that. The gentleman talked about, we aren't going to be able to do anything until, so and so. Well, guess what? I mean, here's what I say we need to be doing now.
But can you hear that? Watch this. Watch this. I don't cut you off. But this speaks to the essence of power that they flow from. Knowing that they're wrong, knowing a life has been taken, knowing the suspects are walking the streets, and guess what? They still say this: we can't do nothing. You can't do nothing.
White
You have the
supremacy.
power to do whatever you wanted to do.
White supremacy. White supremacy at its best and in play. And so how do we help, cut down the trees of white supremacy? Once again, we got to start in our small abilities. We got to vote. Vote these people out. Georgia, the state. Black people need to pour out. Vote these jokers out. Register to vote.
Again, right now, and I think the voting piece is
that's
important.
just a part. That's not all. It's a part of what we got to do.
But I think we've got to. Black people have to move beyond the fear. We have this fear in our DNA that we're slowly coming out of it, but we fear repercussions for standing for righteousness. Black people don't have we should be fearing repercussions when you stand for righteousness. Look. What he said? Patrick Henry said, "Give me liberty or give me death." Let me say this again. Patrick Henry said, "Give me liberty or give me death." See, some of us haven't found something worth living for. And I ain't say die, I say for living for. That's on purpose. Because again, the average Black person don't even want to have this discussion like this, per se, unless they're whispering amongst each other. But we wide open to the whole world to see. I'm calling them out. The system of white supremacy and the pawns within the system are playing their parts out. And we have to deal with this now. What's understood does not have to be spoken. I tell you what, if this had happened in a Jewish community,
oh my God.
How many examples must I give you that we are the only ones who are waiting for a system to give us something that it wasn't created to do. Let me say this again. The system, the justice system, was not created to give us justice.
Nope.
And we have this is like the quintessential perfect example, because we have two white males and former police officer and his son decides to take the law into their hands, and they are walking the street today. Totally crazy. So, family, again, you need to put on your warrior's clothing when you're out here in these streets. I've been saying this for years. When Trump got into office, that it emboldened our white brothers, some of them, and the unprovoked white attacks have increased. Okay, have increased. When we fight, we die. Maybe we don't want to be martyrs. Keith said, when we fight, we die. Maybe we don't want to be martyrs. Getting locked up and dying doesn't ensure the safety of my family or people. That is true.
Well, I'll say this to that. Dr. King's death ensured our safety, and it got us here. It got us, Malcolm X's death. There must be a sacrifice. Malcolm X's death got us where we are. Fannie Lou Hamer. Our civil rights justice, matter of fact, our ancestors in slavery deaths.
Don't leave out Harriet Tubman.
Moses. There must be a sacrifice. And so, yes, I understand. These deaths of our ancestors got us to where we are to this day. And so you're right. In a way, your death may not, but somebody's got to sacrifice something. And my thing is, look, this is a mess. What do we do? And so, yeah, look, I already said next marches and things in this area I'm going to be at. I'm just getting out of school, but as I progress, I got to be a part of these rallies and speaking out. This is why I said we had to do a social media thing today. We could not wait for the preachers and all. We had to do it today, immediately. Speak out. Speak out. I love social media right now because Black people are feeding their, feeding their social media the information concerning this. They're putting it all over to put pressure on the governor of Georgia, to put pressure on the state house of Georgia, to put pressure on the mayor of these towns to say, do something now.
All right, so I don't disagree with you. I agree with you because, again, when you're in a war, you use different tactics. Voting is a tactic. Marching is a tactic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Boycotting is a tactic. Okay. Rallies are tactics. Okay. But we're in that era right now where, again, we're constantly being killed. Do you hear me? We are being killed. We're being slaughtered. Again, just because we've been talking about COVID-19 is in the news, Black men and Black women are still under attack, not just by civilians, but by law enforcement too.
Absolutely.
Law enforcement. Unprovoked attacks. Okay.
Look, watch this. The reason why they're not locked up is because of law enforcement.
Because of who?
Because of law enforcement.
Okay.
They not locked up. They are free walking wherever they are because of bad law enforcement. Right now.
Well, I'll say this. We have good and bad, but the FBI came out with their report that the white supremacists has basically infiltrated every law enforcement from Maine to California.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I don't want to, I guess
Our
I'm
president is a white
evolving the
supremacist.
conversation. Huh?
The president of the United States is a white supremacist.
He is.
Your president is a white supremacist.
Brother, again, I can't whites are marching with guns and you think I'm not about to tax you on to work. That's for you, Matt. Whites are marching with guns and you think nonviolence gonna work? You sound like King, bro.
Oh, okay, Malcolm.
Yes. Yes. Look here, watch this. When we did law enforcement, when we went after them killers, the murderers, what was the mindset? In order to catch them, you gotta think like them, right?
Got to think like them, and you got to be able to kill right with them.
And you got to be able to not kill, brother, but stop the threat when you encounter it, right?
Yeah,
Because
I'm
killing
gonna
is
kill it dead.
premeditated.
Well, yeah.
See, killing is premeditated. We talking
Yeah.
about stopping the threat. These guys who killed Arbery,
Yeah, they murdered him in cold blood.
they murdered him.
Cold blood.
He was
They
no
murdered
threat.
him.
That was a stone cold murder.
Premeditated. I don't even go to say premeditated.
Okay? There was no threat. They were not law enforcement. They did not do no citizens arrests. They took matters into their own hands. So where does that leave us? I've been telling y'all for the last couple of years to get armed. And especially if you're a male. I've been trying, I've even offered my services at a discount rate. I've even offered to do it for free to some.
But you know, Juan,
go ahead.
But you know, they have made it whereas so many of our black people cannot be armed. And you know, I agree with you, but at the end of in this I'm just going to use this situation because many situations we do need to be armed. But this brother was jogging. Nobody carries a firearm while jogging
Because
in
you know
your
what?
own neighborhood.
So watch this. And I want everybody to hear me when I say this. Again, I come as a warrior mentality. I already know we're at war because I know it's not what they say, it's what their actions are. So when you know you're at war, you stay ready. You're not getting ready, you stay ready. Mac and everybody who's in law enforcement underneath my voice, when we put on our uniforms, we put that utility belt on, we get that gun, that mace, that asp, or that baton. You ready. When you're going out there, you ready for what? Whatever
And you know,
presents itself.
Here's one of the main things that you didn't mention that's vital that I would always hit are those cuffs. The ability and the power to take away one's freedom. That is taking up to stop and detain removes one's freedom. And they took this man's freedom. His civil rights were violated. Look, I mean, first, before they took his life, they tried to detain this man. They had no proof. They had not any kind of law enforcement agency to detain and take away another black body free that they could not stand to see free.
Have you ever played Monopoly before?
Absolutely. We play it all the time. My daughter waiting to play Monopoly right now.
You got the community chess cards, you got the chance cards, right?
That's right.
Okay. And you got the good out jail cards, right?
That's right.
Okay, so these white folks feel that they pull that I'm white and I say so card. See, there's a I'm white and I say so card. Something that is not said, but is understood. See, white folks don't have to say I'm white and I say so when they show up on the scene. You know what time it is.
Yeah.
If y'all talking loud, I need you to start whispering. You know, what's understood don't have to be said. And they took justice into their own. It wasn't even justice. They were vigilantes.
They premeditated and murdered. This don't have nothing to do. They are liars. It don't have nothing to do with this brother Ahmaud looking into no when they lying devils. They murdered him in cold blood.
So watch
they
this.
Hated to see a young, free black man jogging in that neighborhood and didn't like it. Period.
I'm gonna say this. I cannot get into in their heads on why they did what they did, but the video shows me that it was premeditated. I don't know what they was thinking. I don't. We'll find that out if we ever get to court and they decide to get them under some cross testimony, in the courtroom. I don't know why they did what they did, but I know one thing: they felt they can do it and get away with it, and they did.
This was, you know what? Thank you so much for hitting that, because I think this is the point of, my live earlier with you on, with us on together. I said we have to try to understand their mindset after enduring the Michael Brown situation, after enduring the what's his name, Trayvon Martin situation, whereas white people have murdered black bodies and they have gone to jail, and the protests and other situations throughout the state. What would cause you and your son to not stop and say, well, maybe this isn't the right thing to do, but to say in your mind, it's okay to get our guns, go after a young black man we've seen before, and make up something in your mind and say, oh, we're going to go get him. And it's okay. And nothing's going to happen. And the only thing I can come to answer this reality is white supremacy, racism, the Klan. This is the only thing. That's why this fool, Trayvon Martin's killer, he is a great white hope for white supremacists. Every time they see him free, they have hope that they can kill and murder black and brown bodies.
So watch this, and I don't disagree with nothing you're saying. And I want to answer Keith's question. Whites are marching with guns. Do you think our nonviolent tactics are going to work? No. We have proof that it hasn't worked. His king's been gone, and they still killing us. So our nonviolent protest is not going to work, because again, black people, we don't come back to the drawing board and see if what we've been doing is working. So we have that information before, which shows us that it don't work. It don't work. I'll suggest this, family. We may not never come together collectively as a people, but I'm gonna put you on. I'm gonna plant something to your head that you can't get out. There comes a time when you must become your own lone wolf.
I got the wolf.
Watch this.
I got the wolf dot. I got the wolf.
It's a wolf.
Yes, sir.
Now, why would I say your own lone wolf? Because let me say something to you right now, family. Do I think collectively we're gonna come together? Eventually. But right now, no, because again, we're still asking questions why. Why are they doing this to us? The simple answer is this: they hate you. You hate it. And we've been pushing this love thing for so long because we want to be loved. We want to project our love onto a people or into a system that didn't come into existence on love. This whole system was built on the genocide of a people and the slavery of another people. The two pillars of white supremacy is genocide and slavery. The foundation is white hatred. I can kill you with impunity. and go to sleep and do it again because I hate you. And while we're busy to love people, we're trying to project something on the people who can't reciprocate. I'm not saying all of them, but
Juan,
where is the outrage?
Doc, can I jump in there? You know I'm a proponent for love, and I got to do it, Malcolm. I'll just be mutton because I agree. I love Malcolm, and you know by any means necessary. It's but so much I'm gonna take and I'm gonna fry you, but at the same time, text tells us love covers a multitude of sins. If it had
Okay,
not
watch
been for
this.
love, we still number one, we dealing with a love issue in our own community. We got to first learn to love ourselves, and so
You are not going to put this back on us.
So hold on. I'm not putting that situation on us. I'm just talking about love in general. Oh, I would never do that. That's absurd. But what I'm saying is love matters. And love first starts in home. Second, and that deals with loving each other. Second, that helps. I didn't say it's the antidote, but it helps others to want to respect the black man or black woman because of the way we show love to each other. That's an aspect. Third, at the end of the day, now, I'm not saying go out here and get murdered and shot and killed. We all have our opinions. And I do believe Malcolm X we needed him. Thank God for him. Matter of fact, Dr. James Cole had a book on Malcolm X and Martin and how these two are so very necessarily needed from the aspect because King's love did not, totally cover all of the aspects of this systematic rooted racism issue we have in America. You got to have both. And so I would not kick out defending oneself and currying. Neither will I root out love because love is is the most powerful thing that we have on the inside of humanity that God has given to us. And to love your neighbor as you love yourself. That's the problem. Nobody's obeying that. Nobody loves their neighbor. And so here again, Kelly Brown Douglas. This is what I was talking about earlier.
Let me ask you something.
Go ahead.
So let me ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to show love right now to these folks who killed that boy right now? We're showing love?
Listen, Doc. Listen.
And forgiveness? You tell me.
Listen.
Go ahead.
All I'm saying, right now, these two fools need to be arrested. Now, do they deserve to be lynched? That's one's personal opinion. But all I can say is showing them true love is administering true justice. That's love. Because that's what Christ was about. He came to administer love, which was justice. Justice for the oppressed. He was the voice.
I don't know what happened to you. You still there, Matt? Am I still alive? Because I think he's gone. Hello? Okay. I don't know. Maybe your feed didn't drop. So look, let me say this. The essence of love is the willingness. The essence of love is the willingness to protect. I'm going to say it one more time because you need to get this. We can talk about all the love in the world. We can talk about all the disciples. We can talk about all that Jesus required and said. But if your love does not protect, then your love is artificial. You speak of love, but you don't operate in love. If you ever watch the animal kingdom, any animal kingdom, when them animals have their children or their cubs or they have, their babies. The mother goes into mother instincts. The father has father instincts. When you had your child, you're going to protect and provide instincts. The essence of love is the willingness to protect. And if we don't protect our own, then we can't say we love our own. And by we keep looking for others to do what we know we need to do ourselves, it speaks volumes. That's why I say, I don't know if we're going to become a collective anytime soon, but there's a lone wolf in you right now. Everybody on the sound of my voice, there's a lone wolf in you to protect, to provide, to give instructions, and to protect the culture. Okay? The essence of love is the willingness to provide and protect. We have to protect our home. That couldn't happen to me. Mac, I don't know what happened. I think you lost your feed, you're gone. And so, yeah, we get back with you. But Keith said love is a weakness to the white man. He knows we are forgivable people. He knows that. Watch this. Foundation of Black Americans' our greatest weakness is love. And our greatest strength is forgiveness. We know how to, we love to death of our own. We have sacrificed our own children just to coexist with this system. Say this again. We have sacrificed our own children just for white approval and white integration, white acceptance. Watch this now. The beauty about this whole COVID piece, because there's a beauty about this COVID piece, COVID-19, is those ones who had the money and have lost it and are struggling, they're now seeing what those at the bottom of the totem pole were dealing with all this time. To those ones who was high up and bougie are beginning to feel the pain, the suffering of those who were the lower class. And they begin to see that in the bigger scheme of things, when you walk out that door, when you walk out your door, there's a possibility you could be confronted by a white supremacist or a agent of the state. Because I got to evolve this conversation. We have multiple enemies that we have to confront as foundational Black Americans, as Native African Americans. We're just not concerned about suspected white supremacists like these two, the McNeils, Gregory and Travis. Not just them two, but we have to deal with law enforcement. We are still being slaughtered in the streets by agents of the states, by white supremacists who have infiltrated our law enforcement agencies or departments nationwide. Family, I want to get this through your head that we are at war. And just because the people have not said it verbally, look at their actions. Listen to the silence that's coming from the dominant community about this whole situation. We are like February, March, April, May. We're 4 months into the shooting. And now it's beginning to pick up some traction because of social media. That's why social media ain't gonna be around too much longer, because social media has been uncovering, highlighting the disparities, the inappropriate behavior from the culture. They got to find a way to shut this down where they can be under the radar. Like I said, what we saw on that video was a 21st century high-tech lynching. In the era of Jim Crow, we didn't have the videos or the cameras. They had the postcards. They had sunset. They had sunset services. Like, you better be able before the sun go down. Those we talk about towns of people warning black people, you need to be out this town before the sun go down. Okay? That's why you have to know the history. When you know your history, it removes the mystery. Dr. Small said that. Get that from Dr. Small, James Smalls. When you know your history, when you know the history of this country, it removes the mystery. For my brother with good intentions to ask the question why they're doing it, is because a lot of us, I just don't read black books. I read white books. There was another video I did, Ebby, 2 hours ago. Just type in. I gotta watch. It should be a watch party on my feed, on my page, where we talked about the Arbery Ahmaud killing that took place back in February, and it's now getting some traction right now. But again, when you know the history, it removes all the mysteries. And look, we've been misinformed on purpose. Not just black, but the whites and Latinos and the Asians and the West Indians and the Caribbeans. We've all been misinformed because we live in a system that says, you know what? We won't tell them the history of this country. We would just highlight some moments, but not the 250 years of straight slavery from 1619 to 1865. From 1865 to 1965, the 100 years of Jim Crow, where they, like 4,000 to 5,000 blacks who were just lynched and hung, burnt. Get this book. Look up this book called Beyond Sanctuary. Beyond Sanctuary. Say this again. The book is called Beyond Sanctuary. It deals with the history of lynching. It's a pictorial book. You cannot see that book and never be the same person again. Beyond Sanctuary. Get the book. Because when you know your history, it removes the mystery. Those suspected white supremacists that killed that young brother, they did it because they felt white privilege, that they can get away with it. And they did. They still have. Because they're still walking the street. Okay? Not arrested. They're talking about a grand jury. You have enough information. You have enough evidence. Lock them up. Lock them up. But we as a black community have a responsibility. Again, I don't know if we're going to, I'm optimistic. I believe that eventually we will come together. It may take some situations that we're not ready for us to come together. But we're going to have to eventually, if it's no more than just to protect our children. And I've said this before. I'm at an age where, you know what, I've lived a good life. It's time to protect the children, the children and the elders. Some of us gonna have to. Some of us. Can I be honest? Some of us are just plain old ghetto. We don't care about nothing. Don't care about nobody. As long as it don't happen to me and my family. We don't care about the collective. As long as it don't happen to me and my family. But you're part of a bigger community. And we have to come to the place like the Orthodox do. If you harm one of them, you harm all of them. I got a video. There's a video floating right now on social media where 2,500 of them came together to pay respect to a rabbi that passed away in the era of COVID, right? 2,500. Okay, what's that? What's that? Let me see if I got that. Let me see if I got that video. Not the video, but 20. It's in the New York Times, where 2,500 Orthodox Jews came together in the COVID era to pay respect to one of their rabbis. Okay. And not one of them got locked up. Not one got locked up for breaking the COVID-19 rules or policies about coming together. But we're seeing videos of black folks being maced, locked up, that they're being forced to comply with these policies, these rules, and white folks, our white brethren, it's not, they don't have to do the same. The standard for them is different. I'm not blind to this family. Some of us just want to act like black folks just don't get it. We crazy. Nah. Because watch this. California opened their beaches. Tens of thousands showed up. Florida opened their beaches. Hundreds showed up. Okay. Hundreds of potential people who can affect hundreds more. But we try to focus, and watch this. The police was not enforcing them. We're not telling them to go home. Wasn't telling them to cover up, wasn't telling them to put a mask on. Heck, in New York, in one neighborhood, they was passing out masks and bottles of water to people who wasn't even practicing this whole COVID-19 restrictions on coming together. But let us see black people and the rage and the hostility that is shown towards us. It's unprecedented. I've said this before, and I'm gonna say this again. That Wuhan, I'm just trying to evolve the conversation right now. That Wuhan COVID-19 virus originated in China. It spread across European Union, affecting the Europeans, Britain. It decimated Spain, went on up to Russia, Canada, okay? And then when it settled here, per se, in these United States, the narrative became that black people are more susceptible, African Americans are more susceptible to the Wuhan. Not focusing on or not considering that they just literally, I mean, what's going on in Spain is not even talked about. Okay. And look, this is like my first time even talking about this whole Wuhan, COVID-19 or anything. I've really been keeping to myself with this because again, for me, I'm beyond the emotions. I'm looking at what are they trying to tell not just this nation, but what messages are they sending around the world? Because I keep going back to this one thing, which we don't understand. When you don't control your own media, When you don't have your own television, your own radios, your own print, you don't control the narrative. We're not controlling the narrative because we don't own nothing. So we're being spoon fed because we are so, well, how would I say, we're so like the Borg now. We're so integrated into the system that we have forsaken our history, our foundational Black history, just to be a part of the collective. So we're allowing people to spoon feed us information, and we can't even refute the facts or the lies. So everything that Channel 7 said is true. Everything that ABC says is true. Everything that NBC says is true. Everything that CNN says is true. Everything that Fox says is true. Everything that MSNBC says is true. It can't be all true, family. When you don't control the media, you're being fed. We're being fed some lies. When you don't take the initiative and get away from these traditional sources and start doing some investigative research for yourself and realize, oh man, the numbers not adding up, the story's not adding up, how we've been portrayed is not adding up. You can't take what you're getting as all facts. It's not all facts. This is not. There's multiple stories out there. Multiple stories about this whole COVID piece. Multiple stories. You know who's getting it, who's not getting it. So, um, but let me again, because that's one. I just want us to begin to think, become critical thinkers. What's up, Will? Become critical thinkers. I don't think we understand, or I don't think we realize this. I've been saying that we've been practicing economic suicide for a long time. Okay, I'm just evolving the conversation, family. Um, and with this COVID-19, it really exposed the bad leadership we've been getting for the last 50 years. How they've made us codependent on others for our survival. How they sold us out. The preachers, the activists, your your business leaders have really just sold us out. Your politicians, because there's nowhere in the world that, again, that we are 13% of the population. We're 45 million deep. We're 45 million deep, okay? And we don't have nothing to show for it after being here 400 years. Say that again. We're 45 million deep. We've been here on record, according to them, since 1619, right? Although we was here before then. But under the system of racism and white supremacy, we've been here for 400 years, 401 years. Considered this year will be the 1 year, okay? From 1619 to 1865 was 250 years of free slave labor. That's why I don't say people of color. That's why I don't say no black and brown. I say black. I say foundational black Americans. I say African Americans, because people of color didn't build this country. It was foundational black Americans, period. 1865 to 1965. It was 100 years of Jim Crow, where they hung us with impunity, where they hung us. They had postcards, sent them out, sent invites out. From 65 to the current day, it's like what, 65 to 2020? Had to make it what, 55 years now? Last 55 years? Unprovoked attacks by white supremacists. Unprovoked. Brother Arbery, who was jogging, was an unprovoked attack. James Byrd, who was tied to a fort, who was chained to a truck some 22 years ago, was an unprovoked attack. Should I deal with the law enforcement? Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman was an unprovoked attack. Okay? And if I start dealing with the law enforcement, Trayvon Rice, Eric Gardner, unprovoked attacks. Okay? We are under attack, family. It's time for you to put on your warrior's garment. Your warrior's garment is be ready when you step out that door of your house, your apartment, wherever you are. You can be pulled over by a race soldier who's having a bad day, or just feel the need to put somebody on the books. And it just happens to be you, a black man or a black woman. I haven't forget about Sandra Bland. Unprovoked. Okay? Y'all need to get into your heads that you're at war. That 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 no matter how much money you have, no matter where you live, when you're in your car, you get pulled over, or some unprovoked white supremacist decide, you know what, to chase you, to get behind you and follow you. I feel for my brothers and sisters who live out there in those rural areas, suburban areas, where you ain't in the city. Because a lot of them don't bring that food. A lot of those white supremacists don't bring that foolishness to the city. They'd be out there in the country somewhere where they can get away and hide and run. Because again, they act like wolves. They act like wolves. They move in packs. That's why when I showed you this is a wolf. We may not come together collectively, but there's a lone wolf in you and all of us who will not allow suspected white supremacists or anybody to disrespect them, to bring harm to themselves or to their families. We have to start thinking as warriors. And the brothers, confront your fears. Confront your fears. Confront your fears. Look in the mirror. Think about your children, if you have some, or those children that you are counseling, that you speak into their lives. Think about the future of our people. Where are we going to be the next 100 years or the next 50 years? The way things are going right now, family, COVID is allegedly decimating the black community. We're still being gunned down in the streets by race soldiers, unprovoked attacks by white supremacists, okay? Failing health. We lead in all the diabetes, the heart attacks, the strokes, the hypertensions. We're gonna throw in the abortions that we're still leading in. I mean, when you think about just what the multiple fronts that we're fighting just to survive, it speaks to our determination to live in spite of all these things that we have to encounter every day just to have black skin. No white person under the sound of my voice wants to be black unless they're doing some dancing or unless they want to holler, want to learn the game. But to live as a black man, they don't want that. They don't want that. And some of you don't want that. But this is our lot. We're not cursed. Ain't nothing cursed about me, but I will cuss your ass out. That's the closest I get to a curse. Cursing you out. Okay? Not cursed at all. I am blessed. My seed is blessed. Okay? But at the same time, I know that we're at war. That's why I be trying to train you. Or I got some guys who can train you how to defend and protect yourselves. Because again, we have not seen the carnage from this tsunami of this COVID on the black community. We have not seen, we have yet to even see the damage. I told you about those supply lines are drying up. The supply lines are drying up. I told you about the shortages of food. There's going to be some shortages of food. I told you the jobs ain't coming back. Some of these jobs are not coming back. You're going to have to reinvent yourselves. I told you, no matter how much food you have in your refrigerator, can you go 2 years? Can you go a whole year? Because it may last longer than this. If we're not working collectively, individually, you're done. I've been pushing this black economics piece, self-reliance, self-confidence for years. I've even reposted my videos from years ago, just reposting stuff that I see because it's still relevant today. Just change the date and some characters, but the information's still relevant. You have to begin to think that you're at war. As a matter of fact, watch this. America has no problem saying that they're at war with China, an economic war. Okay? And watch this. And you heard it here first. If America continues to go with the narrative that China developed the Wuhan virus in a lab and they was negligent in not providing the information in a timely manner to prevent the spread of the disease, then that's ground for a biological war. And if it's a biological war, then you're going to war. If they're able to frame this narrative in a way where it says that China was intentional in what they did, and it was an attack on our liberty and our freedom, then that's grounds for war. It's grounds for war. I'm talking about a armed conflict, not not psychological warfare, not biological. I'm talking about tanks, warships, airplanes, jets. So if you're not going to listen to me about getting ready, if you're not going to listen to me or take my advice about having a warrior's mindset or acting like or thinking in a warrior's mentality, then we'll just wait until Secretary of State Pompeo advised Trump administration that we're going to have to go to war against China because what they did was intentional. And if it's intentional, this goes beyond economics. Now watch this. Don't think it's too far-fetched. Prior to COVID-19, white folks were dying of heroin and opioids. They was dying at 50 to 70,000 a year for the last 4 or 5 years. They're not reproducing, okay? Their numbers are dwindling, okay? You have them staging rallies in West Virginia with their tiki fire saying, we will not be replaced. You will not replace us, right? See, white folks know something that black folks ain't paying attention to, and that is they're dying. They're dying. And they're not being replaced. And the question they ask themselves, because I study white folks, like they study black folks. Can they live? Can they? Would they be all right with being at the bottom and blacks calling the shots at the top? Can they do to us? Will we do to them what they done to us? Think about it. White folks are running scared. And when a person is running scared, what do you do next? You provoke. You fight. You reestablish yourself. Even white folks know that they're dying. They have to do it. They have to do a reset. They have to do a reset. They're projecting what next what maybe 50, 70 years. They may be the minority in this country that they didn't build. Foundational Black Americans built this country. They just supervised. We built this country. Be very clear. From 1619 to 1865, black people built this country with the sweat and blood, not them. You go down to that Jefferson Memorial, you go down to that White House, those was black hands that built those houses. These roads, and do not bring no people of color into my face with that. Don't want to hit or brown, black and brown. Ain't no black and brown. No more black and brown correlation for me with that craziness. I'm not going to ride off the backs of our suffering, of our sacrifice, and make it and try to erase us. You need to see that if we don't claim our heritage, somebody else will come in here and they will erase us. But back to what I'm saying about my white brother know he's dying and they're not reproducing. And we're talking about globally. They're not reproducing. Opiates was knocking them out before this whole COVID piece. And now they got COVID. Trust me, white folks did not want to see no COVID-19 because their numbers was already dwindling. Since we had the conversation, white people did not want to see this. This is the last thing they want to see. And although they may have even assisted in developing it in Wuhan, you know, you don't want to release on your own. Whites are preparing to control the world with only a minority simply being the majority does yield control. That's how we have the numbers, but never the power. Right. So white folks are doing, well, Keith said this, whites are preparing to control the world with only a minority. Check. Simply being a majority does yield control. South Africans had the numbers but never had the power. Apartheid. White people have to do the reset. That's true, Keith. Here it is. Because South Africa is probably one of the greatest examples where you had the smaller minority control the majority. And so now they're becoming the minority, so they have to reset this thing when they become the minority to control the majority. Look, I need everybody to look up this word, technology, because this is what he uses every day to control the masses in every institution. Technology must trick you into technology. Just look at TRICKNOLLOGY, technology. This is what they use on us. Okay, but right now he's wounded. As a collective, they're scared. Okay, and they are willing and ready to fight for their survival. And when like I say, they're ready to do some praying, which is PREYING, while black folks are still talking about PRAYING. And that's the biggest difference between black folks and white folks. One is a praying and the other one's a praying. Arbery, he was preyed upon. P-R-E-Y, by 2 suspected white supremacists in a pickup truck, and they killed him. Facts. Okay? So what we gonna do about it? I told you right now. I don't know if we're gonna come together as a collective anytime soon. But there is a lone wolf in you. And what am I saying? Summons the wolf. Summons the protector, the provider. Someone to come after your family, your house. You have a right to protect yourself, your family, your loved ones. As I said, and I said again, had that been one of my daughters and 2 suspected white supremacists had killed my daughters, or even did what they did with James Byrd, I would either be in the grave or tried by 12. Because I'm not waiting for nobody to do what my God-given rights was. The law of the first law of nature trumps the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Protect yourself. Protect your family. Self-preservation was before any Constitution, any Bill of Rights. Check. If you're not willing, the essence of love is the willingness to protect, the sacrifice, to protect your own. You got to protect your own and stop looking for somebody else to do something that you can do yourself. And look, like I said, what's understood does not have to be spoken. Remember James Byrd. Remember James Byrd. June 7, 1998. He was dragged behind a Ford pickup truck by 2 white supremacists, and he was dismembered. Next month, on the 7th of June, will be 22 years. And now we're looking at this brother right here, Arbery, who was killed cold blood.
Alert from drop
By another 2 white supremacists. You need to put on your warrior's hat, family. A war has been declared on you and your people. When you go out them houses, you go outside, look, you need to be ready for an encounter. Be ready for an encounter with either a suspected white supremacist or a race soldier. Race soldiers who pull you over just to provoke something. Right now, crime may be down right now. You know why? Because everybody in the house. But you have some people on the police department who just got to have confrontation, got to be doing something, got to be locking somebody up. So they send them to the black community, knowing blacks out there, to start something. And then it's on. Somebody's dead, somebody's going to jail, somebody's made, somebody's shot, somebody's cuffed. You saw what happened in New York with that officer, with that, what's this, Francisco? Because black folks was not following the social distancing, right? Police come out there enforcing a so-called social distancing policy. And I say so-called because just last month, they had 25 Hasidic Jews come together, Hasidic Jews, 2,500 of them, at a funeral. They wasn't practicing. And watch this. People don't talk about this, right? But that thing on COVID is doing some numbers in that Orthodox Jewish community in New York. Look it up. Look it up. My computer running slow. Okay? Again, I can't tell you what to do, family, but I'm telling you what I would do. And we need to have this discussion because, again, we home. This is a time to do some reflecting. This is a time to reinvent yourself. This is a time to establish connections. This is a time to begin to share and to care. Okay? Again, because again, we're at a crossroads right now. We're at a crossroads right now, family. White supremacists are emboldened. They're emboldened right now. And every time you walk out your door, you ought to be ready for an encounter with anybody, especially race soldiers and white supremacists. This ain't time. This is not the time for skinny jeans. Pull your pants up. And you better fight nobody with your pants on your ass. Pull them up, tighten that belt up, put your boots on, and get ready. And watch this. Don't be going nowhere by yourself. Make sure somebody know where you go. You may want to implement. Everybody knows where everybody goes. Stay in twos and threes. Stay in twos and threes. I'm just talking about the situation. Give you some suggestions. Walk in twos or threes. Let people know where you're going. And you in that rural area, when you out there in them country, in them side roads, make sure somebody knows where you at all times. These white supremacists are not playing. Again, we got two of them right now, free, walking the streets right now after killing a black male in cold blood. Okay? So look, I don't know how long I've been talking. I hope I said something that will enlighten you, that will inform you. And like I said, because I wasn't going to say much about it because I'm on a whole different frequency. I'm not where I was even last year, even yesterday. But my man wanted to talk about it, and we talked about it. And I'm glad I shared. Um, we have to stop looking for somebody to save us complex. Save yourself. This system's not going to save you. Ain't no group of people going to come save us. Save yourself. Hell, even Jesus said save yourself. Save yourself. Get yourself ready. Get ready. Stay ready. Again, you can contact me, juanjohn29@gmail.com for firearms training nationwide. I go to Maine, California, teach guns. Not me. I got folks who can help you no matter what weapon you want to use. We make sure you get training and you be qualified and you become certified. It'll make a difference. For the women out there, make sure you let people know where you're going. Let somebody know where you're going. You need to get some training too. You learn how to protect yourself and harm yourself. Not just with the gun. We teach you some empty hand contact. Teach you how to use your palms as a weapon. Your elbows. You know what I'm saying? Your knees. You become a weapon just by using your palms. You need to learn how to protect yourself. At least be able to stay in the fight and get some help. Okay? But we have a lot that we must do. And I'm empathetic because I know we're under attack, and a lot of us don't even realize it because we're not programmed to believe we're under attack because we all want to be a part of the fabric. But when you get this country, remind you every day that we don't like you. We don't like your children. Because it's not more so me. It's what you're doing to my children. To our children, to our babies. You're coming after the babies. That boy was 25 years old. He wasn't a baby, he was a young man, but still, he hadn't lived. So with that said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I don't know who's on. I see some names, but um, share this video. Um, I don't know when I'm going to be back. Like I said, I'm up on what's going on. There's a couple people that I listen to. If you have a YouTube channel, Twitter, I do listen to uh, Darren Muhammad from State of the City, broadcast out of Baltimore. He's a good brother. Very, very knowledgeable, very like a scientist. Come from the same lineage as Steve Coakley's and the Jesse McDade's. Uh, just a solid brother who knows what he's doing. I check out Irritated Genie every now and then. I check out Professor Black Truth on YouTube. Um, um, who else? I check out Tariq Nasheed, Dr. Randy Short. It's quite a few guys that I check out to stay informed because, again, you know, we need to be informed. The Black Authority, YouTube, the Black Authority, Professor Black Truth. So it's some guys that I tune into, I listen to. I may not share everything and share the information, but I stay current along with me doing my own research. And I'm just putting these names out there to you because, again, if you're only listening to your traditional media outlets, then you are being programmed. You are being manipulated. You are you are part of the big manipulation programming. Facts. Okay? And if everybody is saying the same thing, it's no longer news. It's programming. Okay? So again, I want to thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate it. We're in a new era, a new way to disseminate information, a new way to get information. Um, um, I just want you guys to stay strong, stay encouraged. All hope is not dead. All hope is not gone. But we have to. We're at a point right now. We have to do a reset. That everything must go under the microscope of truth. That if right in this era right now where the economy has stopped, the world has come to a standstill. That this is the time to reflect. This is the time to put everything under the microscope of truth. And when we come out of this, don't go back to what we used to do. Don't go back. Don't be so excited to go back to being the regular old person that you were. Be something different. Recreate yourself. You don't need a whole lot. You just need faith and some confidence. With confidence, you've already won half the battle. I pray you get some confidence. That's what Garvey said. A man with no confidence had lost the battle. A man with some confidence, he's already halfway won the battle. Okay? So again, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Share this video. Go to my YouTube and subscribe. Like I said, if I get 1,000 subscribers, that'd be good. I can go live on my phone, right? I mean, anywhere. But again, I'm not trusting these social media platforms because we don't own them. We don't own these, so they can easily snatch them away, which they will eventually. Because again, this whole Arbery case took place in February, and now it's May. We're talking about some 4 months ago. And if it wasn't for social media, we wouldn't know about it. So they're going to find a way to stop this social media piece, and we got to still develop ways to stay in contact with each other. So with that said, look here, thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate. Again, I don't know when I'm gonna come back because I don't know when I'm gonna come back on social media, um, but I want to deal with this, and just know that there's a brother out here who cares about you, who wants the best for you and your family, who genuinely wants us to arise as a people and take back what belongs to us, which is our freedom, our liberty, our power, our right to exist in this earth as men and free women, and As Malcolm would say, if we had to do it, then we do it by any means necessary. Summons that wolf in you, summons that fighter, summons that warrior in you. Is there. Push beyond the complacency and, grab hold of some confidence and become godlike. I say godlike for real. That's purposeful. Watch this. I'm going to say this, I'm going to leave. When Moses, according to the scriptures, Exodus 1, 7:1, Moses, go to Exodus 7:1, when he was unsure about his ability, about his purpose, about even approaching Pharaoh, right? Elohim, Jehovah, Yahweh, whatever you want to call him, said these words to Moses. I have made you God over Pharaoh, and Aaron will be your servant, your prophet. Say this again. I have made you God unto Pharaoh. Now, my interpretation of that means this. Moses, you have no excuse for not doing what you're told to do. You have no excuse for not walking in confidence and boldness, because I have made you God over your situation. So I'm telling everybody, male, female, on the sound of my voice, apply that principle, apply that scripture to your life. That God has made you God to your situation. He's made you God. And you're not by yourself, because he said, and Aaron will be your prophet. There's somebody else in your life that believes in you, that's going to walk with you, it's going to help you out. But you got to come to the realization that you God over your situation, over your health, over your finances, over your relationships, over this system. Every system, everything has an expiration date. Your bread, tomatoes, cucumbers, and even the system of racism, white supremacy, it has an expiration date. While we're trying to hold on to it, time's up. With that said, I'm out. And remember this, it's not how much you know, it's how much you care. I'm out.